Aloha, my name is Patrick, and these are my fish. You're watching Recovery Conversations. Thank you for being here. I wanted to share with you a section of a conversation I had with Dave Tieff, who is a father. He is a professional musician. He's also an author and does a lot of writing on the topic of Alcoholics Anonymous. You can find Dave's writings on medium.com. That's how I found him. So this conversation covers a couple points that I think are pretty significant. One is perhaps a misconception that AA is Alcoholics Anonymous is a treatment, when in fact it is a support program. And this covers Dave's experience along that line. And the second is a conversation about the definition of insanity. Now, if you're in the rooms or have been in the rooms, you know what that saying is, and I wanted to share some insight on that as well. I hope you enjoy. I hope it stirs some thoughts in you, and I'll catch you back at the end. One of the articles you wrote the title says it all: being critical of AA saves lives. So at some point you acknowledge you started off in AA, but you're in this different place now in your recovery. How did that progression happen? What brought you to where you are now?
Well, so one of the first things again was I was relapsing pretty continually. And here's what happened. I was relapsing, and then I noticed that I started relapsing in 2-month intervals that you could almost set your calendar by. And I was like, that's weird. And I looked at it, I was like, does that coincide with any of my bills or my schedule or whatever? And I could not put my finger on it. It really wasn't my bills. I work from home, so I work for myself, so I don't have a scheduled payment thing so it really wasn't anything cyclical with work. And so I went to see a therapist, and my therapist said to me, I wouldn't be, she said, I said, oh, I know what I did. I said, am I bipolar? Because there seems to be like a cycle that's going on. She said, no. She goes, you don't have the clinical mania or the clinical depression associated with bipolar. So I don't think you're bipolar. Now, she wasn't going to diagnose me. She's a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. So she wasn't going to diagnose me. And she said, let me write your referral and go see a psychiatrist who also specializes in drug and alcohol abuse. So I was like, fine. So I came in there, told him my symptoms, and he's like, absolutely, that's what you have. And I was like, wow. Now, I could have gone to 1,000,000 AA meetings and read the big book 1,000 times, and we both know that I never would have come to that conclusion. So, and they put me on medication for it, which isn't a cure-all, but it makes the ups and downs manageable. And ever since then, it changed my life. It's really been much easier to do. And the funny thing is, Patrick, is that the upswings, I can actually be very productive, outgoing,
Right.
Focused, get things done. I don't even really look at it as like a hindrance or like some curse that I have, because when the upswing starts, like I can be on fire. It's just that it gets a little too crazy towards the top. But again, I noticed that during these the tipping point of the upswing is when I was most likely to have a drink, because I knew that would bring me back down to earth immediately. And then of course that would lead to like a 5-day bender where my life would come unhinged. So there had to be something had to give, and I was never going to be able to find that path, that treatment in AA. It's just, they told me rework the 4-step, pray more, do this, go to 2 meetings a day and all this kind of stuff. And none of that stuff, they meant well, but none of that stuff was going to help me in my mood disorder.
And for me, my relapse cycle was about 3 months. So this cycle I would go through, I'm in the rooms of AA. I'm trying to be open-minded. I'm trying to integrate my pagan beliefs into this clearly Judeo-Christian God concept. I'm trying to buy into these slogans and sayings that logically make no sense to me. For example, if you went into a meeting and said, what's the definition of insanity? What happens? You know the answer.
Yeah.
Right. Doing the
Yep.
same thing, expecting a different result, but somehow that doesn't apply to AA, right?
Bingo.
You've relapsed 10 times in this program, and the answer is you've already hit on it. You're not praying enough, you have the wrong sponsor, you're not being honest, go back and do it again. Is there really any harm in simply saying, maybe this isn't for you? Let's find what will work.
Right.
For the group that it works for, fucking awesome, keep doing it. But make the space for those where it doesn't work.
Yep. It's funny that you bring that up, Patrick, because that exact saying that is pounded into your head in AA, right? Now, in AA, they're referring to drinking, like doing the same thing over and over again, expecting result. And I applied that exact saying to AA itself. I'm like, well, how long am I going to keep relapsing in AA and wind up in the same place before I say I got to try something else?
Yeah.
That's when the saying that was pounded into my head in AA is the reason I left, because I was like, I can't keep doing the same thing over and
Yep.
over again, expecting it to be any different.
Yep. So, the idea for me that I have to limit thinking in any way, limit my options in any way is problematic.
Right.
So having to follow this one camp on recovery just doesn't work. I need the ability to think however I want to think and apply whatever works for me.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as complex as the human brain is, to ever think that there's one pigeonhole, cookie cutter, 12-step, 3-step, 4-star something program that should just work for everybody is patently ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, this is Patrick. Thanks for watching. I hope this created some thoughts in you and maybe made you realize that there are many ways to go about this, right? That's my primary intent with these videos. If you're somebody who has gotten well with alternate approaches to recovery, I want to know your story and I'd love to share it with other people. Thank you.